What's up, you tennis nuts? It's finally time for our Asia trip.
Superset number 16.
We're going to Thailand to see an old teammate of mine, Pawit. He's like the greatest player in the history of our college team. Now he's like 600 ATP. So I'm gonna go train with him. Very excited. Let's see the world.
We were considering doing a morning beer, but I'm not sure that really applies to the improvement of my game, so.
Alright guys, it's been a very positive trip so far, but I thought this flight was an hour and 45 minutes. Turns out it's 5 hours and 45 minutes, and there's a massive monsoon with 30-mile-per-hour winds, so this might be the end of the channel. I've had 7 cups of coffee.
We made it. Finally, only 30 hours.
Alright guys, it is about 9 p.m. and the jet lag has officially hit me. We have a busy day tomorrow. We got a double practice, 2 practices with Pawit in the Thai summer heat. We got practice at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Good night.
We are on our first real practice day here in Bangkok. We've got practice from 9 to 11 today, and then a break for lunch, and then 2:30 to 4. So see what this Thai training is all about.
What is up, you tennis nuts? Welcome to Bangkok, and more importantly, welcome to Troops Academy. Troops Academy in Bangkok. This is where this whole video took place and where my buddy Pawit trains when he's not traveling on tour. So I'm gonna take you through a full training day on court and in the gym, and let's get right into it. Okay, so the warm-up was pretty basic, or at least what I thought was the warm-up was pretty basic. We started with a 5-minute jog, you know, ease my way into the day, and then a pretty basic dynamic warm-up. So 15 minutes in, even though it's 95 degrees, 80% humidity, I am feeling good. I'm like, oh, this is easy. I can do a dynamic warm-up all day, no matter how hot it is. Cole Schultz tennis, which was a humongous mistake. There's a reason everyone was going so slow in the warm-up, because the next thing on the list was 20 minutes of footwork drills. We did just 3 different drills, but that's more than enough. We did this first drill where you're doing 1 foot over and back, and 1 foot stays behind the line, and you shuffle back. And then we did a shuffle and crossover drill with a split step. So you're shuffling, crossing over, split, shuffle, crossover, split. And our third drill was this shuffle and straight ahead sprint. So you're sprinting, you're using all 4 cones this time, sprinting straight forward, and then shuffling on a diagonal back. Every drill was 30 seconds long, but we did it for 3 sets, and we did both sides. So I think it was like 18 total sets. And as far as I could tell, these kids were doing this every single day. It was not like a special day. So I went from feeling on top of the world to having that pit in your stomach of like, am I going to be able to make it through this practice? Fortunately, the adrenaline and fear of flying across the world and then not getting any film kicked in, so I was good to go. But the first couple minutes of this is filmed through the fence, and I promise the rest will be filmed normally. There was just some miscommunication. I don't speak great Thai, but it was just a hitting warm-up anyways, nothing fancy, and they did end up letting us film around the corner, so there's no fence the rest of the video, I promise. Okay, so our first drill was this 2-on-1 drill with 1 person in the corner at the baseline, and then the other 2 players at the net, and it was 90 seconds, and the coach feeds right away. And on this side, this is Pawit, so this is our 600 ATP friend, and you can just see the crazy intensity and quality that he's playing with. So even at the net, this was like pretty, as you can see, not that easy to deal with, and it's probably hard to tell on the screen, but the heat is crazy, which makes this drill just so much harder. Just a couple of things that they talked about, or the coach talked to me about while I was doing my round. A lot about staying low with the ball, so getting down. Obviously they're volleying, so the ball's staying low. Getting down and staying down through the shot, and then also trying to recover. He kept saying recover, recover, yeah, at least one step after you hit. So a lot of that kind of quick preparing, staying low, and then recovering back. And you'll see at the end of this, I mean, I was dying. Like, I know I'd just taken 30 hours of flights and we just did a footwork drill and all that, but I mean, I was dead. And we did one set each on the do side and one set each on the ad side before our first break.
But who really needs rest?
Okay, coming back from the break, we did a drill that I had never done before, but I feel like super effective. So one side is running to play a backhand slice pass, and the other person's moving forward to try to finish the point. The entire time I've known Pawit, he's always talked about how much the Thai emphasize movement, defending in their training. So this was actually a perfect example, so I got to see kind of like what he's talking about. But this shot definitely needs some work. I was getting toasted in this drill. And then on the volley side, I actually have worked on this a lot with Ruan back home. But this volley, and I talked with the coach here also, that short volley when you're playing off a slice is all about staying low and moving through the shot. Because if you just try to stop, the backspin will put your volley right into the net. And obviously I just jumped in on a random day here, so they're not doing this every day, but it is interesting to see the specific stuff that pros are working on. It's not always just rallying from the baseline, which is even more apparent in how we spent the last hour of practice. So we did these drills to start, but we spent maybe the last 45 minutes doing serve and return, working on the server coming in and playing a first volley. And it's just crazy. It's like the more I learn about tennis, the more time I spend around good players. You just see all of these good players spending so much time on serve and return and way less time at the back of the court than maybe I naturally would do on my own. And that's how they finished the morning practice. We just took turns being the returner and practicing serving and coming to the net. So it was not a complicated practice, but I would say, one, the focus obviously is really clear focus. Hey, we're going to work on moving forward. And also just the energy. Sometimes I use the word intensity, but I feel like the energy of these players is like everyone's coming with the right attitude, like excited to be there, tons of effort in every drill on every court, not just this court. I mean, there was courts all over the place next to me with college level players. The two guys on this court obviously have ATP points, but people were not like coming in for work. They were excited to be there. So that wraps up the morning session. That's the first 2 hours. The footwork drills and then the hitting session. And we have a little bit of a break here, about 3.5 hours in between the morning and the afternoon session. And the afternoon session is going to be all match play. So
What better time to go to a Thai food court and try some new foods? Shout out Pawit for being my lovely tour guide. And this place was pretty incredible. Thailand, I would highly recommend. Super cheap and everything was super high quality. People were so friendly. But just like that, snap of your fingers, you're back on court. That 3.5 hours goes quick. But this is all match play, this second session. And actually the coach from the first session recommended that I do not come back because I was not looking great by the end of the first practice. But I did fly all the way to Thailand, so I felt like I kind of owed it to everyone involved to do the full practice. So this second session, there was no dynamic warm-up or footwork before, but it's all match play. So this match, I'm playing against Siwanat, who actually went on to make the finals of a Futures. So he's ranked, I think, 1,500 now, around 1,500 ATP as I'm making this video. So obviously a good player, a good test. This will probably be the first time I'm playing against anyone with ATP points for real since we started this. So let's get into it. These were short sets. We started at 2-all because we were meant to rotate, but let's go through this set because it was a bruiser. And right off the bat, there's a couple things that I notice whenever I go from playing maybe like, I don't know, 10 or 11 UTR, like kind of like lower level college player, maybe what I would consider myself back in the day, to one of these guys who's either at the top of their college or starting to play professionally, and those things are always first serve and first ball, or same thing in the return. It just feels like the quality of the serve, the percentage of the serve, and the same thing with the first ball is so much higher than maybe what I'm used to playing in school, and so you just sort of feel that kind of pressure, like the ball's pushing on you just a little bit more than what you're used to. And for me, that kind of puts me into this holding serve mode, where my number one goal is always just hold serve, do whatever you have to do to hold serve. Ruan always says that.
do whatever you have to do to hold serve, and then if you can find a way to get into a return game, that's great, or you can create some scoreboard pressure, but the number one priority is just hold serve, try to stay on pace with these guys, because you can see the quality of the ball is pretty crazy, and physically I was not in a great spot after my 30-hour travel day and the morning session, which this guy did also. What did help is that these courts were extremely fast. The ball was moving through the court crazy. So you'll see both of us hitting some frames where the ball just comes through the court. And that's obviously a little bit because of the speed that we're playing, but also because of the courts themselves and the balls. But that helped me out. It kept the points short. It meant if I did put a good first serve in, a lot of times I was on the front foot. And same thing with the return. Like, probably had to take a little bit more risk than I normally would. Because when I was getting into the points, this guy was he was just going to beat me. That's kind of the feeling I had, is needs to be the first couple of shots. I got to get ahead, otherwise I'm in trouble. But it is refreshing, I guess, to know that the difference in the level is always smaller than you think. And when I go from playing maybe like a UTR event here in Florida against an 11 UTR, and then I get on court with one of these guys who's maybe 12.5 and above, you go, oh, it's actually, I'm pretty comfortable with everything that's going on. It's more of how consistently can I do things correctly, right? Can I hang around? Can I make enough first serves? Can I make enough returns? It's not like a completely different sport. They're just doing those little things at a higher level. And today, I was serving well, so that helped a lot. But I made a video about it. This guy, anytime I left the ball hanging, anytime I left the ball even semi-short, he was cleaning it up so easily, which is just, that creates that pressure on you. Like, I have to produce a good ball. Otherwise, this guy's going to finish me off so quickly from the back of the court. But I'd really be interested to know, because there's a few things that stand out to me that I talked about. I'd be interested to know what people either who have watched or who have played themselves against college versus pro, the differences that you think. I always hear serve and return, and that's kind of my belief. Like, that's the big one, maybe serve, return, and first ball. But I would love to hear what other people think from their experience, like what separates it, because maybe each person's experience is different. So we've hung around. We've done a good job taking care of our serve and the first ball after the serve, which has been huge. I will say at this point, I'm starting to kind of like realize or accept that I'm going to be in bad physical shape as this set goes on. I know it doesn't even really look that sunny, but it was, mid-90s temperature and at least 80% humidity. It was crazy. I've also heard there talk about pollution and stuff in Thailand that can make it a little bit harder to breathe. All these different factors, 30 hours of flying. So I was serving and playing with that in mind. Like, I cannot play long points anymore. And that's pretty obvious as the set goes on, which honestly kind of works perfectly with my takeaways from this trip. I wasn't here for long, but I felt like in the time that I was here, it kind of opened my eyes. I worked with Ruan a lot on the tactical side, maybe, like what pros are thinking about, or but the actual work, right? Like, what does it feel like to be a pro, to train like a pro, to even try to be a pro? I don't know if I really had a taste for that before this. I think that the combination of the heat and the travel and the multiple sessions, and you'll see in a second, the gym, I think all of that put together kind of opened my eyes to the fact that it is a whole different ball game than what I'm used to. Maybe it's a little bit extreme in this instance. I do feel like the Thai training is pretty intense compared to some other places, but for me, it was perfect. It was the perfect, this set was the perfect kind of reminder. Like, I got my hands on my knees here after an hour of playing, that I just need to completely change my approach to training off court if I want those results on the court. Which sort of perfectly leads into the next segment of this, which is the workout that I got to do with Pawit. So Pawit at Troops Academy, Pawit works with the training staff there, and they give him these workouts, what you're about to see, and he's doing these this lift 3 times a week, and then he's doing a sprint workout twice a week, and I'll try to share the sprint workout. But today's workout was really simple. We started with a long warm-up on our own, and then we went into box drops and box jumps, 2 sets of 8, and then straight into the lift. And the lift was broken into 5 supersets. Each one was 1 lower body and 1 upper body exercise with no rest in between the sets. The combinations were back squat and lat pull down, barbell hip thrust and dumbbell bench press, barbell RDL and single arm row, alternating backwards and side lunges with dumbbells and dumbbell shoulder press. And then to finish, we did overhead tricep extension with the cable, and then dumbbell curls where you turn your hand over at the top. And we did all 10 of those exercises for 4 sets of 10. So this was like a 2-hour workout. And I don't necessarily know if you need to do this or I need to do this. It might be a little bit overkill, but Pawit is in crazy good shape and is an unbelievable mover on the court. So something that he's doing here is right. And if you have questions about the workout specifically, please ask in the comments, because I know a lot of people are looking for a good tennis lift. All right, guys, that was my time at Troops Academy in Thailand, training with Mr. Pawit. So thank you again to Troops. Thank you to Pawit. Thanks to my dad for coming with me and filming this. And most importantly, thanks to you guys for making this possible. Please click subscribe to keep making me do these voiceovers. Love you guys.
People are saying that I'm just a tennis guy. That's not true. I'm an entertainer. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.